Good afternoon, guys. I'm so sorry I'm late. I was in a virtual meeting. I'm trying to get a hang of these virtual meetings now that we're working from home. So, who's ready for the last chapter of Code 7? Last chapter of Code 7. All right, if you would, put this right here so I can keep track of. I'm going to put a little thumbs up if you're out there. From just reading to myself today, which is okay. I like to be read to, so I'll read to myself. I've really enjoyed this book and how they've gone through and had, 7 different children, 7 different stories about them and problems that have arose in their home lives, or some cases it was school lives, and then how they solved that. So I will go ahead and get started. If you join me, go ahead and put your name in the corner, and I will know that you're here, and I'll give you a little hi. All right, I even got our YouTube recording, so we're good to go. Code 7. During homeroom, Caitlin listened from her desk as Principal Cooler made an announcement over the loudspeaker. "I look forward to this week every year," the principal said. "Imagination Week is about imagining the world as a better place and then making it happen. I love team projects. This year is no exception." Ooh, maybe we need to try this Imagination Week. It sounds exciting. Caitlin sighed. The thought of a team project made her uncomfortable. She placed a hand on her messenger bag resting in her lap. Since moving to Flint Hill from New York City a year ago, she hadn't tried to get to know anyone. She preferred to keep to herself. Teams were being assigned today. You will need to come up with a team name and get started on your plans. The winning group will get a pizza party for their class. A collective cheer, woo, rang through the room. No one could resist a pizza party. Caitlin's teacher, Mr. Lowe, called out names, dividing the class into 3 groups of 7. Caitlin slung her bag over her shoulder and moved to the rear of the room to join her team. She didn't know any of them well, but she thought the Sebastian guy had caused a scandal at the school by selling bad candy. Great. "Let's get started," Sebastian said. "We need to delegate tasks to the right people if we want to go big. Trust me, I know from experience." Uh-oh, so she has Sebastian on her team. Remember when we read back in that chapter when he started his own business and he was stealing from his friends and his family to make all of the taffy? So how do you think she feels about having Sebastian in her group after that big blow up that he had? Type it in the comments. Hi, Elijah, it's good to see you. "What's the rush?" Alec interrupted. "We haven't even decided what we're doing yet." He looked at Jefferson. "Jefferson, come up with an idea everyone likes." Jefferson swallowed. "Me? You've done it before. You went gaga over your mural." So do you think that Jefferson should have to come up with it? He's already done his project for the year. I mean, he did a whole mural for the school, and that caused him a lot of stress. I think they should leave poor Jefferson alone. I like how in this chapter they're bringing everyone back together again, so you know how they fit into the school. Remember, this is a 5th grade class. No, Talman said. "Let's start with our own ideas first. I'm sure we can come up with something if we think about it long enough." And remember, Talman was the story about the fish and his father. So maybe it'll be a fishing project. Who knows? I've got it, Samantha said. We could put on a talent show to raise money. I could sing for a cause. Oh, so Samantha, who remembers what Samantha did in her part? Hi, Rakoya. Hi, Alyssa. So, I like it, Genevieve said. Maybe our class could be about animals. What do you think, Caitlin? Caitlin bit her lip. A talent show sounds okay, so long as I'm not in it. She wasn't sure she even possessed a true talent. Hold on a sec, Sebastian said. Who wants to prance around the stage for a cause? Even I wouldn't do that for a pizza party, Alec added. Me either, Talman said. Okay, so far the boys are so not keen on the talent show, but the girls are like, most of them are okay with it. How are we going to make the world a better place? Jefferson asked. We need a cause. That's the point of Imagination Week. We could do something to support artists. Practically all of them are starving, you know. Agreed, Samantha said. Singers are artists too. A lot of them resort to singing on the streets. What about the cats and dogs? Genevieve asked. So many are starving and living on the streets. They're helpless. Genevieve has a point, Alex said. There are a lot of hungry, homeless animals out there. I know from experience. No, Sebastian said, lost in thought. We have to give small businesses a leg up. Now there's a cause. Talman piped in. I know. We could do an obstacle course with some sort of crazy challenges. Everyone stared at Talman. Why would we do that? Alec asked. Talman lit up. Because it's a cool idea. As the group debated ideas, Caitlin watched the conversation ping-pong back and forth. She wished she could point the video camera in her bag at all of them and capture the process. As the discussion went on, each teammate only became more convinced of his or her idea. Without art, Jefferson said, the world would be an ugly place. But what about music? Samantha said. Cats and dogs, Genevieve argued. Sebastian paced the floor. But businesses are the fabric of our community. Talman kept pushing the obstacle course idea. Caitlin sighed. There was no way that this group was going to be able to decide. What about you, Caitlin? Genevieve said. What do you think? She had no idea what they could do. Maybe we should spend the week working on something we each like. Then that would buy her more time. Then on Friday, we could vote for the project we'll present on Monday. Everyone looked at each other. That's genius, Alex said. Great idea, Samantha agreed. I don't see why not, Sebastian concluded. One last order of business. We need a team name. Any thoughts? Decide something else? Forget it. Why don't we wait on the name until we know what our project is? Caitlin offered. Makes sense, Jefferson said. All in favor, say aye, Sebastian said. Aye, everyone chimed just before the class bell rang. Caitlin smiled. She had gotten what she wanted, a non-team project. But she still had a big problem. What was she going to do for her project? As she sat in her room that evening, she pulled the camera from her bag and rested it on her desk. She knew that it would involve her camera, but she didn't know what she could film. She didn't even have a cause like save the dolphins or find a cure. She filmed people because she loved the small stories that unfolded in front of her on her camera. Like the time her old best friend told her on camera why she had the biggest crush on Chad Rice. Or when she filmed her cousin's high school graduation ceremony and caught the tear that slipped down her uncle's filmmaker. How powerful she had looked behind the podium, making a speech. Caitlin touched the camera. What would Mom say? Mom always filmed important things. Things that would change people's minds about the world, she would say. Could Caitlin do that? What would she change about people's minds? She didn't know, but she knew that she had to start filming something. The next day, Caitlin met her group in homeroom. She had a proposal. Does anyone mind if I video you doing your projects? Video, Alex said. I don't think stealing our ideas is the way to go, Caitlin. That's not what I mean. She reached into her bag and pulled out her camera. It's my project. I want to make a film. Maybe capturing you all working on your projects for a cause is my project. Genevieve's eyes lit up. That's so cool, Caitlin. You know how to work that? It looks fancy, Samantha added. Caitlin blushed. My mom gave it to me. She showed me how. I don't care if you film me, Talman said. As long as you get my good side, Alec added. Everyone agreed to allow Caitlin to film them. That day after school, Caitlin went with Jefferson to a local bus stop. She recorded with her camera as they walked. I want to transform how the town looks, Jefferson said, gesturing all around him. All of our bus stands are neglected. We could decorate each stand with art and hire local artists to complete them. Caitlin was impressed. It was a good idea. So see, each kiddo is using their talents. So remember, Jefferson at the beginning of the story, his talent was he's an artist and he's a painter, right? And that's why they chose him to make the mural for the school's 50th celebration. So now he's using what he loves to help with his project, which has to do with art. Doesn't that make sense? Okay, so next she met with Alec at the park. My idea is to, beautify the city by asking citizens to pick up after themselves and each other. We love recyclable trash bags. We leave recyclable trash bags at various locations. So if you feel inclined, you can grab a bag, pick things up, and go. I'll teach everyone what that city's mess is everyone's responsibility. When Caitlin met with Samantha at her house, she filmed Samantha working on a new song. I want to sing something that will make people care about the world. The following day, Caitlin captured Genevieve using a neighborhood map to establish a system of foster homes for pets. And if every kid at Flint Elementary School took an animal in, we could save hundreds of cats and dogs every year. Interesting. So, I don't know about you guys, but how many of your parents would let you take in a dog or a cat to foster? Not to mention how many dogs and cats you might already have at home. So we have two. They're running around here. We have Haley and we have Sydney. Now, if we brought a cat into the house, I don't think that would be a good idea. And if we brought another dog into the house, I might lose my mind. So I don't know what you think about her project and if it'll work or not, because especially if people already have cats and dogs. Okay, Sebastian was drawing up business plans with his little brother Jason. I'd like to help small businesses attract more customers through low-cost advertising. We could have businesses sponsor my soccer team, Jason added. Talman was building an obstacle course in his yard, complete with climbing walls, ropes, and a mud pool. I'm going to stick random prizes in the mud that people will have to fish out. It'll be almost impossible to find the magic prize. And that's interesting that it says that he'll put the prizes and you'll have to fish them out. Because remember, Talman's whole story in his chapter was about catching that monster fish with his dad. Everyone had such great ideas. Caitlin worried her project wouldn't seem nearly as good as everyone else's. All she had were random clips of her teammates. What kind of project was that? Nevertheless, she kept filming because that was what she was drawn to. Like some people draw or write, but as the week wore on, things started to fall apart for her teammates. Uh-oh. Well, if you think about it, it's an expectation that something's going to fall apart, right? In every good story, there's always a problem and a resolution, right? So let's see what problems, or maybe you can think of some problems already that might happen with each one of their businesses. If you can think of one problem, just type it in the thing. So Caitlin filmed Jefferson's disappointment as he realized he couldn't do the artist cooperative. Starving artists had to be paid, and Jefferson didn't have any money. Samantha was having a severe case of writer's block when she discovered that Stevie Wonder and YouTube had already done songs like hers. And Sebastian was pretty sure his business plan might be illegal if he was hoping to use the likenesses of famous athletes on company-sponsored soccer shirts. Oh, yay! So Jasmine and Rodrigo wouldn't mind getting extra cats, so you could definitely help out on that project. Good volunteer. When Caitlin went to film Genevieve had lost hope for her foster care system. Don't lose hope, Genevieve. I have a family that will take a cat. About 1/4 of the student body had a household member who was allergic to dogs or cats. Ooh, I could see how that could be a problem. Another half had parents who had already had enough to do with their own children's pets. And the other 1/4 would rather foster iguanas and tarantulas. If you gave me a choice of a cat or a dog or a tarantula, I would definitely take the cat or the dog. The only teammate who seemed happy with his project was Talman. He can't pitch an obstacle course because it's cool to Principal Cooler, Sebastian said in the homeroom on Friday. We've got to think of something important. What about you, Caitlin? Alex said. You've got something, right? Yeah, videos of disappointed teammates, Caitlin thought. Not really. Yeah, videos of disappointed teammates. But this was your idea, Jefferson said, to do our own things separately. We'll let you film us, Samantha said. You can use that somehow, right? Genevieve said. I say we vote to submit Caitlin's project, Sebastian said. Everyone in favor said aye. Aye! It was unanimous. We know you will think of something brilliant, Jefferson said. Just see the possibilities. Meeting adjourned, Samantha said. So here she is, filming everyone's, specifically that right there. She's filming Talman's obstacle course. All right, so remember, she didn't want to work with anybody, right? So she encouraged them to do their whole thing. So now what happened? What did they decide? Now that she's in charge of the project, right? So how do you think she's feeling about that? She tried to get out of doing a group project, and now it's backfired on her, and now they're expecting her to come up with this whole project. So I don't know if she got what she wanted or if she ended up shooting herself in the foot. Caitlin left homeroom with the team project resting heavily on her shoulders. Her plan to buy more time had completely backfired. What was she going to do now? Wait up! Caitlin turned in the hall. Genevieve caught up to her. You'll need my help. No, Caitlin said. I've got it. You sure? Genevieve looked uncertain. I know we voted for your project, but you don't have to do it alone. Thanks, Caitlin said, but I'm okay. She didn't want to involve anyone anymore. She'd done enough already. All right, Genevieve said. Call me if you need help. Caitlin nodded. Genevieve, oops, didn't realize there was comments coming in. I gotta scroll down. Yeah, I know. Ooh, spiders. Tarantulas. Caitlin nodded. Genevieve was so nice. It was like she was built that way. So caring. If only Caitlin had cared as much, maybe she wouldn't be stuck in this mess. When she got home from school, she loaded everything from her camera onto her computer. What could she change people's minds about? She played through every clip, but it was Genevieve's clips that she watched and re-watched. Caitlin paused the playback on an image of Genevieve's disappointed face when she had learned her project wouldn't work. It was almost as though Genevieve believed every homeless dog and cat depended on her, and she didn't let them down. She didn't want to let them down. That was Genevieve's story, so easily captured in 30 seconds of film. Genevieve was always trying to help someone or something. But what was Caitlin's story? Caitlin glanced at her reflection in her full-length mirror. She didn't like what she saw, the sadness from her mom's passing, and then having to move away. For a year, Caitlin had kept her distance from other people because she didn't want them to see that. She was sure everyone thought she was just a loner, but Caitlin wasn't a loner. She was lonely. So now it starts to make sense. So Caitlin has had a problem in the last year, right? With her mom passing away. And think about that, guys. Our parents are a huge part of our life. And to have all of a sudden a parent not be there for you, you know, that causes a lot of emotional strain. So that being said, I think that's why Caitlin was pulling away from people. So what do you think the lesson that she's going to learn in this chapter? Because remember, every lesson that we've done, someone's learned something. So it's Caitlin's turn. What do you think she can learn from her classmates? If you know, go ahead and type it in the comments. Caitlin stared again at Genevieve on her computer screen. Genevieve cared enough that she offered to help Caitlin. Genevieve made her feel not so lonely anymore. She thought about Imagination Week, building a better world. She wanted to help Genevieve help those dogs and cats. She reviewed the clips of the others again and tried to focus. She filmed people because she was drawn to their stories. Jefferson's was about artistic vision. Samantha's was about her desire to sing. Talman loved a good challenge. Alec wanted people to take responsibility for themselves and each other. And Sebastian embodied entrepreneurship spirit. Slowly, a larger story came to her mind, one that was much bigger than all of them combined. What if? That was it. Caitlin immediately contacted her teammates and laid out a plan. Then all weekend, she filmed her teammates working on her idea for their new project and edited the film. Come Monday, Principal Cooler called an assembly for Imagination Week. Presentations went by grade level, and Caitlin's team was scheduled to go last. Caitlin could hardly sit still. First, the kindergartners, they got to participate too, came up and acted out a play where they reimagined a world with circle time was required for everyone to promote peace. The crowd went wild with applause. There were projects about poverty, education, and curing diseases. By the time the fourth grade team presented a thoughtful project about staying green, Caitlin's stomach was full of butterflies. Finally, it was time. And for our last presentation, Principal Cooler announced Caitlin Williams will be presenting for her team. Okay, so think about this. She's been a loner up until this point. She doesn't even super close with her classmates because of everything that's happened to her in the last year. And now she's the one that's presenting for her whole team when she didn't even want to do a team project. How is she feeling right at this moment, having to go up in front of the whole school and present her project? I know how I feel. I'm nervous just reading this, okay? Caitlin went to the podium and held a note card on which she had written a brief speech. She took a deep breath and remembered how powerful her mother had looked when she had made her own speech. Imagination Week is about betterment of the world, Caitlin said. I've learned that one person alone can only do so much. But when we share our stories and work together, we can do so much more. She queued up the film. A sweet song sung by Samantha played over the loudspeakers. Images of puppies and kittens found on the streets of Flint Hill played on the screen. The audience awed. Oh, little puppies and kitties. Then Jefferson came on the screen. He was standing on an ordinary street. Art has the power to beautify our community. Alex was next, talking about plastic bags and cleaning up the city. The next shot was Sebastian standing beside the owner of a pet supply shop. People like Nate Romano keep our citizens employed and our animals fed. The screen went black. Words flashed across the screen. Ideas become reality. The audience saw footage of Nate and his employees in the parking lot of Nate's Pet Supply. Large murals of cats and dogs created by local artists captured the attention of passerbyers. The lot was filled with an obstacle course for dogs and cats and handy poop picker stations for cleanup. Flint Hill citizens were checking out animals bought by the animal control for adoption. Do you see what they're doing here, guys? Genevieve held a chihuahua in front of the camera. Animal control needs our help. Adoption events at Nate's Pet Supply save homeless cats and dogs. Your adoption fees and donations give our furry citizens the homes they deserve. Adopt a pet at Nate's next Adopt a Pet event. More words and images flashed across the screen as Samantha's song played its final verse. Individuals work together. Next was an image of Jefferson helping artists with their murals as the word authenticity appeared on the screen. Another image came up of a picture of Sebastian shaking hands with Nate and the business council for Flint Hill. The word that appeared was character. A snapshot appeared of Genevieve talking with an animal control officer as the shelter animals looked on. Care. Alex set up pickup stations with Nate's staff. Responsibility. Talman training a retriever to jump over a hurdle in his obstacle course. Perseverance. Samantha performing her song for attendees of the event. Courage. Then there was an image of Caitlin with her camera pointed at the adoption event. Her word was become. Caitlin spoke again as many more images of homeless dogs and cats appeared on the screen. These words tell our stories. Caitlin thought of her own story, how she wished her mother could see her now. I believe all of us can lead epic lives as individuals and as teams, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. This is our promise. This is our code. An image of her team came up on the screen. Every member held an animal. Students of Flint Hill, Caitlin said, we call ourselves Code 7. Samantha's song faded as the screen went black. The room was still for a moment. Then it filled with thunderous applause. The crowd began to chant, Code 7, Code 7, Code 7. Caitlin let out a breath and smiled. I did it, Mom. So there's the picture of the whole group, Code 7. I love that. I love how they took it all together and made a project together. They took everyone's interest and they applied it to Genevieve's care about pets, about dogs and cats. I didn't even see that coming. I'm so moved I almost cried. That's amazing. But boys and girls, I think that's the important part is figuring out a way. Yes, we all have our own talents. You know, I can think of my daughter and what her talents are, and my son, what his talents are. I can think of a lot of you guys at school and what your talents are. But really coming together and bringing those talents together to work for one project that could help out the community. I love this idea of Imagination Week. I'm going to have to figure out a way when we get back to school to do an Imagination Week because I think it would be amazing. What are your thoughts? Do you think that would be a good idea for all of us? Would you guys be interested in it? So that we can figure out how we can do this, how we can help. So it says, looks like we have a winner, Principal Cooler said. Code 7 has just won themselves a pizza party. Caitlin's teammates jumped from their seats and gave each other big hugs. No one cared about the prize. What they had accomplished in the space of a week was far bigger than that. This makes me wonder, Sebastian said as he slapped Caitlin a high five. What are we going to do next? Extreme sports, suggested Talman. Caitlin laughed just as Genevieve gave her a hug. You were great, Genevieve said. Caitlin smiled as she rested her chin on Genevieve's shoulder. It had been a long time since she had gotten a hug from a friend. Caitlin glanced at the messenger bag resting in her seat. I've changed people's minds about something, haven't I? But it wasn't leading people to care about homeless cats and dogs that made Caitlin so proud. She had changed. Remember I told you she was going to learn a lesson. This was her lesson. She was no longer alone. She was Caitlin again. She had become Caitlin at last. So that's amazing. Oh my gosh, this has become my new favorite chapter book. New favorite chapter book. If you haven't gone back and watched all the other videos, please go back and watch this on Facebook Live. I really enjoyed this book, and I love how kids work together to really create this project. So, going here forth, actually Mr. Hennon is going to take over chapter books, and I am going to take over picture books. Again, you can watch both. It was just easier for us. I have obviously young children and I was a reading specialist. I have lots of picture books and chapter books. And we may go back and forth, but I'm starting at next week at 12 o'clock. I'm sorry, tomorrow. It's not even Friday. Tomorrow I will do picture books and Mr. Hennon will start a new chapter book and then maybe, who knows, we'll switch again. I will come back at 3 o'clock with any updated announcements that the district might have released or things that you need to know. We are continually doing morning announcements every single morning, boys and girls. I did them for my house, so see, you can see in the background, my daughter and my son, I don't know if you can see it, made a little backdrop in my dining room table for the stars. Obviously, I must have meant to take that to school because I don't know why I would have those school colors in my garage, but I did. So join us for morning announcements. Let's see, what else do you guys need to know? Guys, make sure that you're logging on to your Google Classrooms. Your teachers are putting out great assignments. They are going to scale back a little bit until we all kind of get a norm in place. We don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed, parents or students, but we do have to realize that for a while this is going to be our new norm, so we do need to get our learning to continue. All right, if you have any questions or concerns, always call the front office. Those numbers are being routed to a cell phone, and we are calling you back and getting you anything that you need. All right, bye guys.